Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new edition of Message of Hope. And today I have the pleasure to be with Anita Barfoot Berg, who joins us from Wisconsin in the USA. Welcome, Anita.
Thank you.
Anita is also a spiritual life coach. And I will ask the infamous question, which is all this having this understanding and your own understanding. How does that help you navigate the crazy time we have right now with COVID or stress or anything that's going on in your life?
Great question. So for me, it's multifaceted and it depends on the moment. It depends what I'm going through. But in all encompassing, I just do life different. So it used to look overwhelming to me as soon as the stress level came up or things got different. Well, now we're living in a very different time and that would have just been overwhelming. And so I think the instinct is to go into survival mode, and I just don't do that anymore because I see it all differently. I see it as a bit of an illusion of our making, of how I see the world is then how I fit in and begin to live in the world, right? And so for me, I realized the thinking just creates so much. And so if I can separate myself from the mind as I separate myself from the body and realize that there is more, which is life itself, trying to live through me, trying to expand through me. And when I don't get caught up in the thinking or get caught up in the illusion of the physical, and I don't mean that to minimize anybody's experience, but for me, it just changed how I experience life in general. I don't take it personal. I'm not out there proving myself. I'm not putting labels on myself so I look like I'm somebody. I don't honestly care if people like me or dislike me. The truth is that we radiate a vibration. Everything is energy. And in that vibration of how I'm being is what I'm putting out and what is attracting my tribe or my people or the people who work with me, my clients, and how we interact with each other. So when I can remind myself that this vibrational piece, like for instance, if I pop on the news and sex trafficking and those kind of things, they could really hit a nerve in me if I let them. But I have to remind myself that the reason it hits a nerve in me is because I had a situation at some point in my life that really hits home with. And when I can separate, that's not happening to me now. This is now, that was then. I only have this moment. Then I don't get caught up in the stories and the patterns and the habit and the karmic behavior of continuing to create in a certain way. Every day is new for me. Every moment, life is expressing through me. Magical.
Yeah, because we all live our life to our own little own glasses, right?
Right, right. And so when you
Yeah,
take off that lens and those perceptions, because all that is just the stories, the memory. When somebody said to me that your mind is nothing but memory of all your experiences, and I believe that can go beyond this life experience, it's
true.
more than that.
Yeah.
That's all your mind is. And so that's where your thinking is coming from. So anytime an experience happens, we go immediately to the box and we find where that fits. And then typically our action, our behavior, our karma is from this box. But when you separate yourself from that, and now you're really in this moment, now life can express through you fresh without that karma, without that patterned habitual behavior. So it's always joy, it's always happiness because it's fresh. We see it that way. It's just such an exciting way to live. And through that, the divineness that weaves its way in, that's always there, but we're so busy making stuff up. We can't, we don't see it, we don't connect to it, we don't hear it. It's not that it's not there. It is. It's that we're too busy up here to even notice. So the quieter we get, the more that comes through, the more that comes into our awareness. And that is the joy, that is the bliss, that is the freedom of creating our life, our destinies the way we want to. Doesn't
Yeah,
get
like
better.
yeah, George Prinsky used apparently famously said, "You cannot hear the flute playing when the brass band is playing." And
Boy, and I had a band and a half up there for so many decades of my life.
but the thing
Yeah,
is,
so
like the
many decades.
subconscious mind goes to 400 billion parts per second. The conscious mind is between 40 and 2000, depending who you read. So of course, the subconscious mind is going to be very quick. But by the time the conscious mind gets
Mm,
aware, that's where our power is. Like you were
so
saying,
much.
you
Right.
know,
That's the golden piece, is most of us are living unaware, subconsciously, by habit and pattern. When you get a little willing, and that's all it takes, is a little willingness
mm,
to do it different, and you become, and you bring awareness, you become awareness, everything changes. Everything changes. You see everything differently. And, for me, there's so much quiet space of nothingness that was always filled with a thought before. The other piece of that is, in that subconscious or unconscious way of living, most of us seldom are in here now. We're either
yeah,
in the past or we're in the future. And when I became aware of that, it blew my mind at the reality of that I never was here. I was always somewhere else. I got tomorrow I have to do this, or next year I have to do that, or that happened to me, and just dragging that story and that way of being along with me. So the freedom comes when you just see it differently. It just it's just crazy. Like, I wish someone would have told me 30 years ago. And yet that's not how it works.
yeah. Although it's getting more and more popular, just look at mindfulness, how popular
Yeah,
uh, it is now, because it brings people, again, it's another to bring people in the now.
right. Years ago in the 90s, I used to facilitate stress management workshops. That was a big thing. Still is. Stress
It
management,
is, yeah.
stress management. The realization that I have now is, why in the hell would anybody want to manage their stress? Don't you want to be free from it? Don't you want to
Yeah,
be liberated from it?
yeah, yeah.
That concept never occurred to us because we think this is just, our life is stressful. There's no way out of that, but there is a way out of that, by how you look at it, by your thinking. Your thinking is what's creating the stress. And we have busy lives. So what? That doesn't mean you have to suffer that life.
I've heard an interview once. It was a 3P thing, and they were interviewing doctors they work with. And it was this one doctor, they were short staff. So she was doing 16 hours a day shift.
Mm,
And just by being present, like that in the now, because when she was with a patient, she was thinking of the one she just left and the one she was going to, but she was not present. And just by being present, her 16-hour shift became 12-hour shift. Still a long shift because they were short staffed. So there was nothing that they could do about it
right.
until they hired more people. But 16, it cut 4 hours just by being present in
Yes.
the now.
Yeah. And that's really the gold of what I'm sure you do and what I do as a coach or facilitator, is that just to shift that awareness a little bit. The realization of that is, there's so much time that we're wasting trying to get somewhere, trying to be something or trying to do something. If we just come back, and you know, I believe it's Sadhguru that says this, but he's like, you can't be any place else but now.
Yeah.
You know, it's like everybody's saying, be here now, be here now. You can't, you are here now, but mentally, our mind is not. That's the only thing between you and this moment. And the only place that creation happens, I think Sid says this somewhere, the only place that creation happens is now. That's it. It doesn't happen anywhere else. And yet we're busy in the past or the future. What the hell are we doing?
Good
It's
question.
kind of silly, isn't it? And yet, again, nobody ever told me. It just didn't come into my awareness. The truth is that true. I mean, it's, you see it, you can't unsee it. Of course. Well, then let me do something about this inner stuff that's going on. And how is it that I create space between the minds so that it's not running me, so that my intelligence works for me? And at the same time, I'm tuning into this more part of me that is intelligence itself. And now there's nothing I can't do. When I tap into that limitless, infinite intelligence, it's wide open. What do I want? Well, great. Now life becomes a joy to play it. I can do anything. What do I want? And that too is a really hard question. When I say to my clients, what do you want? They have no idea because they've never given themselves time to ask. They're so busy living to survive instead of living to thrive, living to enjoy, living to be, living to whatever. They're trying to get somewhere always, but not even that. It's like they're just trying to survive. I did it too.
Oh, and sometimes, still sometimes.
Right. Absolutely. I am not 100% at this, but the difference for me is that I notice
Yes,
really, really quickly when I get caught in the old trap. I'm like, whoa, wait, what am I doing? I don't have to do it this way. That's an old story. That's an old way of being for me. Not interested.
true. We wake up much quicker. Anyway, I'll
Yeah.
talk to
Yeah.
myself. We wake up much quicker.
Thankfully, right? Yeah.
Well, thank you, Anita, for your time and wisdom. If people want to find you, where can they find you?
So heartsecho.com is my website. Um, Facebook is Anita Barfoot Berg Coaching. Instagram is Anita Barfoot Berg. Um, Always happy to have a conversation and talk about these kind of things. So don't be afraid to private message me or send me an email.
Thank you, Anita.
Thank you so much, Martine. What a pleasure.